If only a theory were a real objection, well, see, again, it gets into the idea of opinions. Whether something's a real objection or not is a matter of opinion. Why are these people talking in opinions? Because they want to push their opinion as a fact. Creationists would also be issuing disclaimers complaining about the theory of gravity. Well, why would they do that? Gravity can be tested and observed. It's an explanation of observable phenomena. Same with atomic theory, the germ theory of disease, etc. So look, no one says that adaptation is just a theory. We all agree that it's a scientific theory, but the idea that adaptation causes rocks to evolve into people, that's just a theory. So look, they've been deceptive in that. And theory of limits. So look, all those things are scientific theories. Evolution is just a theory about a scientific theory. The theory of evolution is no less valid than any of these. Well, yes it is. So that statement is entirely untrue. Even the theory of gravity still receives serious challenges. Well, how is that in any way relevant? See, that they want to say that, oh, see, these theories are like well regarded, therefore you should believe this one because we call it a scientific theory too. It's all just plays on words. Yet the phenomena of gravity, like evolution, is still fact. Yeah, again, yeah, so they're talking about adaptation, calling it evolution. So look, I'd hope by this point in time, if you are an evolutionist, does this article disturb you? Like how vague and confident and haughty they are? You wait till you get to the end of it. It becomes really, really foul. But of course, maybe you've accepted, maybe you are a dark-spirited individual in which this kind of garbage has a place. Once you get to the end, it is so stupid and wrong. If you lap it up, that just says something about you. See, a person's opinion only gives information about themselves. So if you get to the end and you're looking at it going, yeah, I agree with this, well, that only speaks about you, not about the topic of the opinion. Opinions only give information about their owners. That's what people that are deceived don't understand. See, they hold their opinion as being relevant to the topic rather than only being relevant in a discussion about themselves. Creationism is neither theory nor fact. It is at best only an opinion. Since it explains nothing, it is scientifically useless. Well, it explains that which the theory of evolution claims it explains, the origin of life. But see, creationism is not a scientific theory. It is just a theory, just like evolution. So look, creationists don't claim that it's demonstrated that life was created. We just put it forward as an idea to take into consideration. And it certainly seems, well, I would say our observations of entropy support creationism because we don't see things becoming more complicated and building themselves randomly. We see the opposite. But yeah, so I would say that creationism and evolution are both just theories. And so this idea that it's not a theory nor fact, see, they're just trying to more or less make themselves the authority on what is a fact. And they say that their opinion is fact and that other people's opinions are not fact. And see, they want to protect this word theory because that's their whole claim on the authority on fact. They want to keep this idea that creationism is not a scientific theory out. And I'm happy to let them do that because creationism and evolution are both not falsifiable using the scientific method, so why even discuss it? Well, the reason these people want to discuss it is because they want to push their opinion as fact. So this is another claim that creationists supposedly make. No case of macroevolution has ever been documented. So yeah, I'd say that's consistent with what creationists put forward. So there's no false premise going on there. And there's no straw man argument. What they're going to try and say is, see, they're going to use a straw man argument within this text against the reader and imply, and they'll use a false premise too. So the straw man argument will be that there's no difference. Well, actually, maybe they won't. I haven't got the time to revise this. I did write something about this about a year ago. This is a pretty old article. So the response, we would not expect to observe large changes directly. Yeah, well, obviously. Evolution consists mainly of accumulated small changes over large periods of time. Well, that's the theory. If we saw something like a fish turning into a frog in just a couple of generations, we would have good evidence against evolution. Well, no, they would claim that as proof of evolution, and they'd just say, oh, there must have been something that increased its rate. So they're just trying to act humble here. The evidence for evolution does not depend even a little on observing macroevolution directly. There is a great deal of other evidence. So look, they've pretty much admitted that they haven't observed macroevolution, but they're saying that when creationists tell them that they've never observed it, they're wrong, but they just admitted it. So how do you take that? Look, they're just trying to play the reader as a fool. As biologists use the term, macroevolution means evolution at or above the species level. Speciation has been observed and documented. So what they're saying now is that macroevolution has been observed. So can you see how they're not consistent? They're saying here that macroevolution has been observed, and they're saying back here that evidence for evolution does not depend even a little on observing macroevolution directly. In which case they're agreeing with the creationists. So yeah, obviously it's deception. Microevolution has been observed and is taken for granted even by creationists. No, it's not. It's not at all. No creationist argues against adaptation. So they're lying again. And because there is no known barrier to large change, and because we can expect small changes to accumulate into large changes, microevolution implies macroevolution. What they've done here is, if you read this sentence and study it, what they've done here is claimed that a lack of evidence, this no known barrier to large change, is evidence to support the idea that evolution occurs. So they say a lack of evidence of a barrier is evidence to say that no barrier exists. Well, that's not true. You can't use a lack of evidence as evidence to the contrary. But that's exactly what they've done. So this is an article saying that creationism is full of logical fallacies, but all it is a great demonstration of all the logical fallacies that are used in propaganda pushing evolution. Small changes to developmental genes on their regulation can cause relatively large changes in the adult organism. And he references Shapiro there. I'd say Shapiro was talking about deformity, in which case that's a blatant misleading statement. There's certainly no evidence of any adaptation leading to relatively large changes in the adult organism that I'm aware of. But yeah, so it's, yeah, they're just being vague, deceptive, and yeah, they're not telling the whole truth because they probably don't know how to tell the whole truth. it would be interesting to know whether the person who wrote this actually believes in it. There are many transitional forms that show that macroevolution has occurred. So look, whether something is a transitional form or not is totally theoretical. You can find a fossil and say, I believe that that was a transitional form. That doesn't mean that it was a transitional form. So, can you see how they state their opinion as fact? I hope so. But if you can't, yeah, that's fine. Look, to be correct all the time, of course, no one can do it all the time, but one rule you can follow in order to check your logic at any given time is you need to always separate opinion from fact. The moment you start taking your opinion as fact, you've made yourself vulnerable to error. And this article is full of opinions stated as fact. So look, it could be entire truth. But if it is, it's not because they know it's true or that it's been demonstrated. It would just be an entire fluke, okay? Evolution is the foundation of an immoral worldview. Therefore, you should believe in creationism. No, that's not put forward for creationism. That's put forward for different religions, such as Christianity or Islam, but not for creationism. So now they're trying to link it with religion, and that's fair enough. But you'll see down further that they do the reverse of it. I won't be able to explain it well until we get to the example. But yeah, it gets pretty creepy and dark towards the end here. So the rebuttal: evolution is non-descriptive. It can be immoral only in attempting to accurately describe nature is immoral. Look, I would agree with that. But the thing is, evolution can be part of a sinister agenda, and it is. So yeah, any morals derived, well, let me put it this way: it does absolutely nothing to protect us from doctrines of immorality. It does absolutely nothing, and it enables people to feel justified in doctrines of immorality. But it's not. But the statement is technically correct. It's not about morality. Evolution and creationism are both not about morality. Any morals derived from evolution would have to recognize that the fact that humans have evolved to be social animals would have to recognize the fact that humans have evolved to be social animals. Well, no, it wouldn't. So that's not true. In a social setting, cooperation and even altruism lead to better fitness. That's a matter of opinion, and of course you can't really apply that in modern society. The process of evolution leads naturally to social animals, such as humans, developing ethical principles such as the golden rule. Oh, look, that's from the Bible. That's from the Bible, okay? Now, how many atheists follow the golden rule? And how on earth are they coming to the conclusion that evolution leads to the golden rule? When, mate, most Christians don't even keep the golden rule. Atheists certainly don't keep the golden rule. To say that evolution is something that leads to the golden rule, that's just absurd. And to suggest that creationism does the opposite, look, yeah, but again, evolution and adaptation have absolutely nothing to do with morality. So look, why are they saying here that evolution has nothing to do with morality, and then they're painting it as something that promotes morality. Look, they've said that it leads to the golden rule, but up here they've said it has nothing to do with morality. So this is just deception 101. This is how the devil lies. Like, he contradicts himself all the time. Like, morals such as eugenics and social Darwinism are based on misunderstandings of evolution. Therefore, it is important that evolution be taught well to negate such misunderstandings. Eugenics and social Darwinism, they were created using evolution. They're not misunderstandings. They're not based on misunderstandings of evolution. Evolution's just a concept or a faith, and they were agendas that stemmed out of it. There was no misunderstanding of evolution. You can't misunderstand evolution. It's impossible to misunderstand evolution. Evolution is the theory that human beings occurred by accident. The end. Therefore, it is important that evolution be taught well. So that's pretty whack. So that's consistent with the rest of the article. Despite claims otherwise, creationism has its own problems. See, look, neither creationism nor evolution have anything to do with morality. But now they're going to say, after they've claimed the golden rule for themselves, they're going to say that, that creationism, it's really immoral. For one thing, it is founded on religious bigotry. So the foundation of creationism is, by most standards, immoral. Well, now they're getting into standards of morality. So whose standard of morality is correct? The one that says, follow the golden rule or you'll end up in hell? Or the one that says, you evolved from a rock, so whatever you believe to be true is true. But whatever you believe to be moral is moral. Evolutionists can't admit that there is such a thing as evil. They think morality is subjective. And it is. And that's what God is judging people by, according to the Bible. He lets everyone have their own code of morality, and he judges them based on their code of morality. If the person is someone who accepts evil as moral, they go to hell. If the person rejects evil and says, man, that's evil, then they find favour in God's eyes, and God makes them believe in Jesus. So this is another statement. It's getting increasingly dark towards the end here. Like, that's ridiculous. Look at that. Creationism has its own problems. Look, the Bible is not founded on creationism. The Bible is just one part of creationism, and obviously there's all different codes of morality put forward with creationism in them. They can't all be associated with creationism. Like I said, creationism has nothing to do with morality. So, bigotry. Well, the idea that Christianity or creationism has any foundation on bigotry, that's ridiculous. Eugenics is of bigotry. You'll see that Christianity brings people of all races, all nations, all cultures together. But yeah, we're all one big family. So yeah, this article, it's garbage, but probably the most effective weapon against bad morals is exposure and publicity. Evolution is based on a culture of making information public. Evolution and science in general, mate, science is not based on a culture of making information public. It's private. If you're paying for scientific research to be done, then you own that research and you're under no obligation to release it to the public. Why on earth would you? That would be a waste of money. What are you? So it's implying that all people that fund science are charitable. When you're in the mode of developing technology, say weapons, do you make public the science associated with it? Absolutely not. These people are saying you do. So it's more and more stupid the more you read it. Scientists are their own harshest critics. Well, they're also paid. They have developed codes of ethical behaviour for several circumstances, and they have begun to talk about a general ethics. Oh, well, so they have some general ethics, do they? Well, creationists have nothing similar. What about this book that is supposedly about 2,000 years old that's filled with documents about morality? Yeah, it's true that we have nothing similar because evolutionists have absolutely nothing and we have nothing similar to nothing. Well, it's not really possible to have nothing similar to nothing. Creationists, well, again, creationism it's not even about morality. So they've led the discussion into a whole place where it's not even meant to go. But see, they do this. See what they're doing here? They're saying evolutionists are moral and just and smart, and creationists, well, they're bigots and they're stupid and they have no sense at all. They have nothing in regards to morality. So it's the exact opposite that is true. Some people feel better about themselves by demonizing others. So this entire article has been about demonizing creationists. Those who are truly interested in morals begin by looking for immorality within themselves, not others. Well, that sounds like a very noble statement. So what's happened here is they've just ended with a nice noble and humble statement saying, oh yeah, we're very righteous. It's those other ones, they're a real problem. They're not noble, they don't look for immorality within themselves. So look, what is this statement even doing in an article about the supposed logical fallacies in creationism? That is a relevant question. What on earth is this doing in this discussion? So it's obvious that they just put it there to appeal to the individual's pride, saying, yeah, you're oh so moral and you're real humble. Not like those others. They're immoral, bigoted scumbags and they're stupid. So yeah, comments, nothing to really see there. Feel free to look at this article. It's on Free Thought Nation. So look, something you'll notice about the devil, once you start unveiling some lies, once you start recognizing the lies of the devil, he's not without irony. He will put a brainwashing article on a website called Free Thought Nation. So it's not free thought. If you read this with an open mind, you're going to be hypnotized, and by the end of it, you're going to think that evolution is a doctrine of morality and that creationism is the doctrine of immorality. And yeah, you'll be locked in. See, when a person comes to have pride in their belief, it becomes almost impossible to pry that belief out of them. They can't be corrected unless they drop their pride. So the purpose of this article is to bring them into a state of being proud of being an evolutionist and to see creationists as being shameful, stupid and immoral. So I think that's obvious. We just read the end of it there. Like, that ending is just so ridiculously off topic. It's shocking. So, yeah, if you're an evolutionist, mate, you've been taken in. Look, for all I know, rocks do evolve into people, but I know that these people aren't arguing from a place of logic or fact.